Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's The Missing. Also brought to you by Elum Mythical, the think tank of the future, The Sweet Songs by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, now on Amazon. Also, Heidi Tan Music featuring her latest Baby Come Back, the smash hit. Check out her latest at HeidiTanMusic.com. We're here with terrific gentleman, back by Pop in Demand. It's been a while. He's a Philadelphia-born, multi-talented sound designer and also Foley artist, recording, mixing engineer, video editor with extensive experience, multimedia design, and accomplished storyteller. We'll find out what he's told. He's earned a master's at Chapman University and a Bachelor of Fine Arts at University of Central Florida. And he worked with DreamWorks TV, the Jim Henson Company, and Ubisoft, and also Melody Gun. And he's got a new release on the 4,500th birthday of the Dragon Master. And who is that? And of course, we had him before with the beloved Magus Elgar in a magical encounter. And how's that encounter going? We'll find out just 1 minute. Live, ladies and gentlemen, at Plus Studios, beautiful downtown Los Angeles, the amazing Philadelphia-born, multi-talented sound designer, Foley artist, recording, mixing engineer, and also amazing storyteller. From Magus Elgar to Clutch, a Kobold Story, he does this in a clutch. Ladies and gentlemen, back by Pop in Demand, the multi-talented Kennedy Phillips. Kennedy, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us once again.
I would be aghast if I had to put that massive title in front of my business card every time. That was staggering, but thank you for having me.
Well, you know something? I mean, you got video resumes. You can be able to pull it off. You don't just compress. You can stretch. You can do all kinds of things with it and say, hey, I can do more than just be an engineer. I can be more than a sound designer. I can be more of a Foley artist. I can be more of more than video editor.
Fair.
I can tell stories and everything. So you can compress all it, create some magic there.
I suppose that I'm a little bit too humble when it comes to when I describe what I do for a living, because whenever someone asks about my resume or what I do for a living, I usually just say, well, I bang pots together for films.
Oh, there you go. And
which is not
bang
incorrect.
This, bang that, bang, and everything else like that. So yeah, I think that's great as well too. So you're a Philadelphia-born, multi-talented sound designer, Foley artist, recording, mixing engineer, video editor with extensive experience, multimedia design, a storyteller. You earned your master's at Chapman University, Bachelor of Fine Arts at Central Florida UCF. You worked with DreamWorks TV, the Jim Henson Company, Ubisoft, and also Melody Gun. And we had you on about quite some time ago with Magus Elgar and a magical encounter. And you also did Has-Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss, Laxadaisy, Satina, and more. You got a new release album, the 4,500th birthday of the Dragon Master. And that's part of Clutch, the Kobold Story. And before getting all that, Kennedy, very quickly, once again, tell us how I first got started.
Well, first I got started. A long time ago, I used to live on a sailboat with my parents. I was born in Philadelphia, but I spent most of my life in Florida on a sailing vessel, and we traveled a lot. And one of the problems with traveling out at sea is that there's not many opportunities for entertainment. Mm-hmm. So what I would do when I was very young is I would do performances and fake commercials and stuff like that to entertain my parents. I mean, we also had like VHS tapes and the like, but
oh, I remember those. Yeah, that was pure entertainment. And it's like that. You just hit the fast forward and watch it go like that.
Yeah, but out at sea, like there's only so many times that you could watch, like, you know, the Bali subtitled in version of Independence Day. So I would just make up skits for my folks. And it was very clear that it was something that I really had a lot of passion for, that I really enjoyed doing. I loved entertaining people. Mm-hmm. And when we got back to the States, I started experimenting with like making short films, you know, the kinds that you would expect like any like young kid to have, like, oh, I made a detective noir story about my dog, or superheroes with a budget of nothing. But the more and more that I got into it, I felt that I wanted to work in film. More specifically, I wanted to work in animation, but I had dysgraphia. I couldn't draw. I tried. I did actually practice and gave it like an academic effort, and found that just like even just drawing a straight line was required a lot more effort than most people. And
Wow.
eventually I just came to the conclusion that like my stuff just wasn't going to look good enough. But the thing that I did have experience with was doing voices and doing characters.
Hmm.
And by the time that I had gotten to college, while I was like pursuing film and in post production, I came across an audio drama a friend of mine introduced to me called Professor Nebulous. It was a parody the uh, made by the voice actor who plays as the Daleks.
Hmm.
And it was just like one giant parody of Doctor Who, and it was such a good time. I think you could probably find some of their recordings out there on the internet or something like that. But I still have those files, and I still listen to them every now and again. And because my skill set in post production was so close to it, I figured, you know what? Why don't I try making a story of my own? So I did some like short stories in college, mostly comedies, and found I had a liking to it. And that's what eventually led me to pursuing my master's degree in sound design and eventually like getting into the industry as a sound designer. Now, the last time that I had spoken with you, I was in the process. I had just finished producing a audio drama, Magus Elgar. That was my that was going to be my last effort to see if I was actually worth being in the film industry.
Hmm.
Because prior to that, I'd been getting like scammed nonstop. I would run into I would run into feature length films that would have like these really big successful Kickstarters, and then the director would run off with the money to England,
Oh
or
yeah, yeah, promise. But then you get this credit. It's like you'll get a bigger credit, but you got to pay 20, 30, $50, whatever. Or it's like, $100, you can be considered a associate director or something. Yeah.
fun fact. I when I was working on that particular production, I purchased a bunch of equipment for the film shoot. We spent like 2 or 3 months on that shoot. I still have the hard drive because he did not reimburse me for the money for any of the work that I did. I'm pretty sure that like in terms of wages, like I must have lost like almost like 5 grand just doing free labor working for this guy, and I just never I never saw a dime.
Wow.
That got really discouraging because there was dozens of these kinds of scams. Well, they'll be like, "Oh, you should come work for us. We'll pay you $40 an hour, but you have to send us like you have to buy some equipment and stuff so you could start getting to work." And then suddenly they have all your bank information. And
Oh boy, and they use that to maybe fund Nigerian or terrorists or whatever it is. Like I've heard that stuff before. So it's like, hey, why don't you pay me for once?
so I got to the point where I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep doing this. Like it
Hmm.
just so I told myself, look, you are perfectly capable of being a good storyteller, but you've been trying to dance along the tune of everybody else with these like big scams and stuff for so long. If you're going to try this, at least give yourself the opportunity to do one last ditch effort to see if you could actually do it. And that's
Hmm.
why I wrote and directed and sound designed and funded Magus Elgar. Uh, and it we did a pretty good job. Like we
Hmm.
got rave reviews across like all the review sites. The Audio Publishers of America like invited us to New York for an award ceremony. I got to meet like
Nice.
a bunch of wonderful people who all really loved our work, and it convinced me to keep going. So when I came back from that ceremony, I said, you know what, I would really love to try and see if I can animate this because I had built Magus Elgar to come off like a kind of like a cartoon,
Hmm.
that like an audio only cartoon, like the kind of tone that you would expect for like little kids to
Right,
listen
right.
to. Right?
It's like a radio drama in a way, like going back to CBS Radio Playhouse, radio drama in 30s, 40s, 50s, War of the Worlds and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least in terms of format, but in terms of tone, it would be a little bit more along the lines of, say, uh, like a Terry Pratchett novel, which I took a lot of inspiration from. So I worked with a couple of animators to make two animated shorts, Bridge and Lizard Cheeks, which you can watch on YouTube. And
Hmm.
they're cute little things. One, I had like 3 or 4 people helping me animate, and another one, I hired Powerhouse Animation to help me do the much bigger one, which, if you don't know Powerhouse Animation, they're the ones that were behind animating the Castlevania series on Netflix.
Okay.
Um, and they were wonderful to work with. Funny enough, by making those animated shorts, I ended up picking up the attention of Vivian Madrano, the creator of Has Been Hotel, right
Okay.
around the time that she was about to release Has Been Hotel's pilot. Uh, she asked me for the animators I was working with proposed that I work with her. We had a conversation, and she loved the work that I ended up doing for her, and kept me on board to work on Hell of a Boss, which eventually
Hmm.
led to me working on all the other animated series like Satina and Lackadaisy. Most recently, Dungeon Flippers, which
Dungeon
just came out a
flippers.
couple of
Okay.
weeks ago. That's a really cute one. And something that I discovered as I was working with all these independent animations is a lot of these animators did not have a lot of experience working with people in sound. A
Hmm.
lot of times when they have like classes or degrees or something like that in these courses, the they don't usually teach them the sound side of it. They usually will say like, "Oh, you're just going to be doing storyboards," or "Oh, you're just going to be drawing out some things." So what I've started doing is when I have like a new project that I'm working with, I'll ask them like how much experience they have with audio, and I will give them a crash course in said audio for animation, so they understand what they need to do to get themselves on board.
Hmm.
Um, it's gotten so frequent that Chapman University actually approached me to teach a class about this with for up and coming students, and they loved it. It was
Nice.
so much fun to explore uh, all of the history of sound and animation. Like, interesting little factoid. What do you personally think was the very first film? Like, what was the first film that had sound in it?
Hmm. I will probably have to go all the way back to, I'm going to throw a dartboard on this one, Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse, in terms of a cartoon.
But well, actually, believe it or not, that's not the case. It wasn't
Really?
Steamboat Willie. No, but Disney has been pushing that for years.
Hmm.
It was, if I recall, it was an old Fleischer film that predated it by almost 2 years.
Wow.
Fleischer had this thing where they would do these sing-alongs, uh, which eventually would, if like, which people would take inspiration for.
Like the little bouncing balls, pony boy, bounce,
They
bounce, like karaoke, yes.
Fleischer were the ones that started the bouncing ball technique. They were the ones that came up with it. Um, and one of the earliest, they were not just the first animated film to have sound, they were the first film period to have sound baked into the reel. Because they predated live action audio by 2 years.
Wow.
So sound is always like audio and animation has always gone hand in hand since the beginning, and almost every like evolution of aspects of animation with audio was in pairing with animation in some
Okay.
way or another, because Fleischer was experimenting with all sorts of things. Some of our earliest efforts in Foley art was designed by Disney Foley artists who were hired to build all these contraptions that eventually got used for live action films. Warner Brothers would take recordings from hundreds of different films that they just had in their backlog and would just recycle them into animation in ways that they had never considered doing before.
Hmm. Like with the Vitaphone system and everything like that.
Yeah, or like or using uh, instruments as a way to convey sound effects in certain ways, like xylophones and pianos and drums to get
Okay.
those sounds across that build the language of what we hear in our animations.
Okay. And there's one question I was asked about the Fleischer films, being the
Yeah.
first to have sound incorporated before Disney did. What was that first Fleischer film, and what was the name of it, and what characters?
Let me
Was
see.
that a
I
Betty
had
Boop Popeye or?
no, it wasn't. I had the if I recall, one of the I had it on mind, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Let me. I'm trying to remind myself of this.
Let's see. Let's see. Do you think that would be a while or anything like that, or do you have it to right your fingertips?
My old. It was called My Old Kentucky Home.
My old
That was one
Kentucky
that first.
home.
That
Wow.
now there had been films previously that they had been doing prior to that, but what they would do is they would have the music being played live and would have the bouncing ball going along with it, and they would have like live performers singing along with it. But My Old Kentucky Home was the very first animated film that would have like the recording baked into the reel to play on the speakers, and it was released in 1926,
Oh
which
my
predated
goodness.
Steamboat Willie by 2 years.
Wow. So that Fleischer film, My Old Kentucky Home, was 26, and then Disney was Steamboat Willie 1928. And do you remember who are the main characters of My Old Kentucky Home? It's like you always
It
feature
was
Betty
a
Boop,
oh
Popeye,
no
and
no no
all that.
no characters that you would actually know. The one
Really?
character that they had was like this dog that would like play a trombone and would like play around with these teeth or something like that. It was really weird.
Hmm.
But this was like back before like they had enough, like they had like their staple mascots like but Fleischer had always been exploring new ways to come up with really fascinating techniques, like what they did with parallaxing backgrounds, with stop motion, and some of the techniques that would eventually be exemplified in like their old Superman shorts.
Hmm. Uh-huh. And looks like you're going back and forth, and everything in the meantime too. So we got that, not just audio and video with Kennedy Phillips, and of course, and we're going to venture from Magus Elgar, the history of it, and Hasbin Hotel and more. And we're going to move into the clutch. And what's the clutch? We'll find out just a minute. Kennedy Phillips. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. In Eve 11 and George by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Elliptical, the think tank of the future that brings scientists and engineers together from all over the world, creating a method to construct a renewable generator. With this unique product in mind, operating on a closed loop system generates more energy internally than it needs to function. The extra electricity can be used to run everything from homes, power grids, phones, laptops. This power source is renewable, highly scalable, and more importantly, self-regenerate. For more information, visit facebook.com/Elliptical. That's ELLUMENIPTICAL. Visit today. Also, Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by The Sweet Psalms by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings in King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalms gives a new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote and his time as a shepherd, where it started, and his complicated yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, friends, and more. Check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by High Time Music, featuring the smash hit Baby Come Back, and new music coming soon. Check it out. Listen for details at hightimemusic.com. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. Take us with you on any mobile device, 40 podcast platforms, 100 countries. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. If you're interested in merchandise, send me an email to the Mike Wagner Show at gmail.com. We'll get you some links. And for more great gift ideas, Amazon.com. With me and Molson's, you have books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here, Philadelphia-born, multi-talented sound designer and Foley Honors recording mixing engineer with Magus Elgar, and going from that to Clutch, a Kobold Story here on the Mike Wagner Show. And tell us about the brand new project you got going.
So, after I finished Magus Elgar, I took a little bit of time to focus on animated productions and stuff, which is that's kind of my day job now. But I still love working on audio dramas. I still love doing that kind of thing. And I came across an opportunity. I had come back to my house after taking care of my dad, who had been going through some surgery. And I found that all of my roommates were playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sure you're familiar with that, at least on some level.
Oh, yeah. I think my God, maybe in the mid 80s, I got into it for a bit.
So it's become extremely popular now. Almost everybody in my generation is watching somebody doing it or is taking part in it themselves. It's for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's kind of like the things how kids used to play pretend back when they were children.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have these books that establish rules to allow narrative cohesion and ways to engage that feel balanced. And oftentimes you are rolling dice to determine if whatever it is that you want to accomplish will succeed or fail.
Mm-hmm.
What was really fun was when I came back, all of my roommates were playing as a race of diminutive reptiles called kobolds. They're about 2.5 feet tall. They worship dragons, and they're very gremlin-like creatures that are usually just going around stealing things or getting into trouble, just being really mischievous.
Or just like the movie Gremlins, yeah.
And having all of them just chattering in these very shrill, high-pitched voices about whatever it is that they were getting their hands on and whatever trouble they were having was so engaging to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so mad that I could not take part of that. So as a form of my revenge, I wrote a script and a story about kobolds, which is the story Clutch, a Kobold Story. Clutch follows 3 kobolds, Strap the Trapper, Nom the Healther, and Book the Booker, who go on an adventure to try and find a new dragon to call master after they accidentally kill their old one.
Uh-oh, no good. Especially 45th birthday. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So we ended up getting a wonderful cast. We have Ellerby J playing his Book. We have Joanna Christina as Nom. And we have Michael Kovac as Strap the Trapper. And we also have a couple of other names that are big YouTubers or other people who have been really big in the anime scene. Like Bradley Gareth plays Gaugenvor the Crimson, the benevolent, air quotes, dragon who's just kind of a mean guy. Bradley Gareth has done a lot of anime voice acting. We have a character named Elder Toofus, who
Elder
is a
Toofus?
He is a kobold who believes that in order for you to qualify as an elder, you need to be the oldest. And the only way that they can determine how old they are is by the teeth that have fallen out. So he found a way to game the system by taking everyone's teeth.
Oh, no.
The first thing that he says upon meeting the cast is, "Hello, give me your teeth." And we got the excellent Brendan Blabber to play as him, who's the creator of Epithet Erased, and it goes by Jello Apocalypse on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's meant to be a very short adventure. about 6 episodes in length, because it was going to be my first time doing a Kickstarter, and we managed to raise like $20,000 to fund the whole show.
Nice.
And I was under the impression that we were going to have it like make it in like a couple months, be like, yeah, it'll be a good time, it'll be fun. And then I got hired by the Lackadaisy team and the Hell of a Boss team, and I got hired by Warner Brothers,
Wow.
and I got hired by Feature Length Films.
Oh my gosh, so you like got hired by 4 people at once. Like, how do you manage this hectic schedule?
I don't. I've been on the seat of my pants for this entire time. But the nice thing is that the backers for the Kickstarter have been extremely patient, and they have been very kind. And we released the first 2 episodes pretty recently. I'm still working on the third one. I need to give it a pass before we do like a Walla session and everything. But the last couple of episodes are like in various states of completion. And I've been having a blast working on it.
Nice.
But like we've been trying to keep our Kickstarter people like as involved as possible, like here, like being very transparent about how this is working. And we've got to pay bills. I can't like just take the money and just use it to pay for my mortgage or whatever. So
right,
none of the money,
unlike those other scam artists that you encounter, take the money and run or whatever.
Yeah, so like none of the money that is that I got from the Kickstarter is like going to me directly, aside from just like whatever technician payment I would get to like get things started. And the rest is going to like my crew, my writers, my voice actors, and some of my sound designers who have been helping me while I, do other big things. But of course, I get to the production, I listen to it, and I'm like, okay, I love this. I want to get my hands on it, and I want to, knead the dough, as it were, myself. But working on Clutch has been really nice. And I can't even say that like it's the only audio drama that I've been working on as well. Between Magus Elgar and all the stuff that's been going on with the TV stuff, I've also been working with the incredible people over at Nebula with a series called The Sojourn. I have been the lead sound designer and editor for that series. If you like The Expanse or Battlestar Galactica, this show is it's a sci-fi drama that takes place in the Tantalus cluster, where a convoy of humans travel to parts unknown in the hopes of trying to acquire a new stable form of food and sustenance, and they end up running into all kinds of craziness, like strange spatial anomalies and a very pious alien race that ends up engaging with them. We have like 12 episodes already, and I'm currently working on a feature length starring Stephen Trafford as Vadric. And we've also got like a lot of big names working on the production. Like if I recall, it was I'm trying to remember. Sorry, I'm usually the guy in the back doing all the sound design stuff. We have Larissa Thompson as our lead. We've got Ben Prendergast playing as Croft, Laura Faye Smith as Elizabeth, and we've got a couple of like special guest stars, which have been pretty big. We just got a voice actress from Baldur's Gate 3. We've got oh my god, it was oh my gosh, it was I'm trying to remember his name. We got Dominic Keating as Fleet Admiral Darius, which if you don't know him, he was one of the lead stars in Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
Among so many other names, like there's this, it's a pretty big cast. I'm actually in it also. Like I actually do a couple of voices in it. Mostly like background characters, and I got to play like a 1-episode antagonist, which was a lot of fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. And then how do people get involved with your Kickstarter with Clutch, and also continuing Magus Elgon and everything? How do people get involved with your Kickstarter and everything?
Well, the Kickstarter's already done. The show is free. You can go watch Magus. You can go watch Magus Elgar and Clutch a Kobold Story wherever pods are cast. Magus Elgar is, if you go to like Spotify or wherever you have a podcast catcher, it is available completely for free. Clutch a Kobold Story, if you go to maguselgar.com/clutch, that has a list of like where you can listen to all the episodes. You can also listen to Clutch on Spotify, as well as YouTube and a couple of others. We actually have like this gorgeous artwork, and we even have a couple of animations that a couple of fans have been doing and other things like that on our YouTube. If you just look up Clutch Kobold. Excuse me. We've designed Clutch a Kobold Story to be very much like even more of a cartoon than Magus Elgar was. So if you would say that like Magus Elgar is a like a Terry Pratchett novel, Clutch a Kobold Story is almost like a Saturday morning cartoon, but it takes place in the same universe. It's in the same universe, just hundreds of years in the past, so that like nothing that happens in Magus Elgar is affected by the stuff happening here. So you don't need to like listen to any of Magus Elgar to understand what's going on in the setting. So it's the same like location, which is the banana shaped planetate of Hearth.
Banana planet, yeah.
And a lot of the characters and races and stuff that you run into it are the same ones that they run into in Magus Elgar, but they're all kobolds.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And of course, we can find out on the Magus Elgar website. And just a couple of things, Kennedy. We'd love to have you back and keep us up to date. What else you got going for 2024 and going into 2025 and beyond?
Well, I'm still working on Clutch, obviously, which all of my spare time is going into doing that. I've been dabbling a little bit with some different forms of storytelling. I've been trying to do short form narration, and as well as like ASMR. So like the kinds of stories that you listen to go to sleep or things like that. I've been toying around with that on the side. I'm going to be I've gotten to sound design a couple of experimental feature length films. That should be coming out in the near future. I'll probably like announce them on like on social medias or which not, because I'm not allowed to actually talk about them until they come out.
Right. Yeah.
Hell of a Boss is going to be releasing a new episode this October, which I'm going to be helping sound design.
Okay.
But the big one that is happening right now is Lackadaisy. I am the I'm the lead sound design on that, as well as I've been a vocal director for the cast for their first season. If you're not familiar with Lackadaisy, it is a animated show about cats running a speakeasy in 1920s St. Louis Prohibition era.
Oh yes, you know what? If I recall, I had you on last time. You did talk about that. I looked at it, I'm like, that looks really cool, Lackadaisy.
We released the pilot last year, and it went very well. And we threw a fundraiser to try and fund a full season, and we raised $2 million for approximately 8 episodes.
Wow.
Which if you have any experience with animation, that is not a lot to fund like the whole thing. But we are running this completely independently, so no big studios, no angel investors, no big sponsorships. We got this completely funded by the fans. And I'm actually going to be playing a character in that show as well, in addition to like providing my sound design work. But if you want to hear the kinds of things that we've already been doing, you can listen to the pilot right now. It's free on YouTube. And we've produced 2 or 3 animated shorts. One is called Checkmate, and the other one's called Ingenue. And I got to tell you, like, working on the sound for these productions has been a fascinating challenge. Because with Clutch and with Hell of a Boss and with a lot of the other films that I do, I usually end up working on making things big, very big. over the top, cartoony, or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with Lackadaisy, I have to dial back significantly. I have to be very understated because the creator, Tracy Butler, had intended on this show to be taken as seriously as possible, even though it's, about cats. There are
Right.
some jokey nature of the characters and stuff, but she wants to make it clear that this is not meant to be just like a wacky cartoon. Like it is about some very serious themes, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, organized crime uh, and there's like a lot of themes of violence and abuse and alcohol, obviously. Um, but the big thing that she had maintained, along with the director Fable Siegel, was a verisimilitude of realism. Not
Mm, okay.
so realistic that it is just a literal translation of life, but rather it is something that projects itself as grounded.
Okay.
So all the machinery, the vehicles, the guns, the river boats that happen in the show are authentic to 1920 St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh
We
wow.
actually went to we actually flew I actually flew to St. Louis to record um, environments and machinery and spaces that we would be recording. Like we actually went down into an old abandoned distillery in St. Louis and recorded like what their cellars sounded like for like room tones and other old machinery that hadn't been used in over 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
um, as well as trying to get the authentic sounds of like what a Thompson sounds like or what an old 1920s steam engine would sound like. All these vehicles and all these devices and stuff. If you
Oh
listen to it,
wow.
it is as authentic as you can get
Mm-hmm.
without like going to a museum and recording these machines that are yourself, which we
Right.
did
Yeah.
attempt to do a couple of times.
So in other words, with Lackadaisy, it had to be perfect.
Fun fact though, that doesn't mean that even though like the rule of thumb was realism, I did sneak a little bit of cartooniness in there, which did take some convincing. For example, one of the characters, he's this orange cat named Freckle. He is this very soft boy who is a very religious gentleman who does not want to sin in the eyes of God because his mother is one of those like very, very encroaching Irish uh, religious folk. And all of the little noise, he makes these little noises and he has like a lot of facial expressions that are very cat like that I wanted to reflect in the audio. So I actually recorded my cat on microphone to get a lot of those noises. So like his voice actor, I think Bell was mixed with my cat Rika, which you could hear like in the pilot and in a couple of other things. It's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, it does sound funny, very funny. And once again, Kennedy, what's your website? How do people contact you? And where can people purchase or check out your works?
Yeah, well, you could find me if you go to kennedyphillips.org. That just is mostly a portfolio of the things that I'm working on, and you could also contact me there directly in case you have sound design things that you want done. I work freelance, and that is how I pay the bills and also give myself enough time to go and work on Clutch. If you want to listen to some of my stuff, listen to Hell of a Boss, which is free on YouTube. The Has-Been Hotel pilot is a thing that I sound designed, and that is now a one of the most successful animated shows ever put on Amazon's streaming service,
Nice.
uh, which is saying something considering that Invincible is on there. You can listen to Satina, which is free on YouTube right now, Lackadaisy, which is also free on YouTube, as well as a couple of other shows that are on like Newgrounds, like Tales from Planet Sima and Dungeon Flippers, which just came out about a month or two ago, which is a cute little show about a monster and a dragon working as real estate agents trying to sell dungeons to monsters and villains that need a place to call their evil lair.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
but yeah, and of course, last but certainly not least, if you look up Clutch a Kobold Story, it is one of the first things that pops up on Google searches. It is on YouTube, and it is available wherever pods are cast, same as Magus Elgar. And I do hope that you give it a shot.
And we'll certainly check that out. Once again, Kenny, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Great to catch up with you. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh at you back. Wish all best. And Kennedy, you definitely have a great future ahead of you. Keep us updated.
Thank you very much for having me.